Now, Josh, to the shocking tragedy that saw the loss of more than 60 lives when a Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines flight near Reagan International Airport. There was a great deal of criticism and defence of DEI at the time, diversity, equity, inclusion programs. A great deal of focus on the fact that the pilot here, the helicopter pilot in the Black Hawk, was a female, Captain Rebecca Loback. Well, we now have more details on the crash, and it's been revealed that not only was the Black Hawk flying too high, but in the final seconds before the crash, the pilot failed to heed a directive from her co-pilot, an Army flight instructor, to change course. As many speculated at the time, Josh, this looked like human error, an avoidable tragedy that's taken the lives of 67 people.
So this was a truly horrific story. I was actually in Washington, D.C. when this happened. I was set to fly out of Reagan Airport, that very airport, less than 24 hours after the crash. My flight was delayed. And then when I finally got to the airport the next day for my delayed flight, it was quite harrowing, as you can imagine, pulling up to the airport and seeing the wreckage there with the sirens and the flashing lights in the Potomac River there. So this is a tragedy that I'm on a personal level, I'm not going to soon forget anytime soon there. But we do know a little bit more about what happened here. We do know that this was just a total great amalgamation of errors happening all at once. Some person left early who was supposed to be there in flight control there. We, as you saw what just happened here, the pilot just simply did not listen to her co-pilot there. I think the DEI is one of many factors to blame here. It seems like there are numerous factors there, but when it comes to something like this, Rita, something like when you're the pilot of a Black Hawk military helicopter, I'm sorry, there is literally one thing. There is one thing that I want to know that is happening there and choosing who is piloting that aircraft, and that is who is the most skilled aviator possible. I don't give a crap about literally anything else in the world, the same way that I don't give a crap about what your skin color is, if you are doing open heart surgery, if you are doing any task where public safety, anyone's health, safety is at rest there, literally the only thing I care about is how good you are. That is the entire notion of equal justice under the law, of meritocracy. That is the bread and butter of Western civilization itself. We lose that to our own peril. We forget that to our own peril. And frankly, with every tragedy like this, there's obviously a horrific loss of human life, and may their memories all be a blessing there. But every time that DEI contributes in some way to a tragedy like this, frankly, Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, they're just licking their chops because they see these stupid Americans that are doing this, and they're literally causing death and destruction there, and our enemies are only emboldened and frankly laughing at us as a result of this.
Well, we've got airlines, multiple airlines, that are pushing for these DEI policies. They want to have commercial airline pilots that are more reflective of society. They're overwhelmingly white and male at the moment, and there's been numerous articles on this, numerous programs that have been highlighted with different airlines, and what you just said is so true. I don't think there's a single person who flies who cares about the colour or the gender or the sexual orientation of who's in the cockpit. You just want to have the best person for the job. And I would have thought airline pilots would be one area where you want to value meritocracy above all else. Now, Josh, the lies against Donald Trump are getting ever more absurd. Now they're accusing him of disrespecting the late Pope and the Vatican by wearing a blue suit to Pope Francis's funeral. The fake news here just spread like wildfire. It starts with this headline: the Vatican asked Pope Francis' funeral attendees to wear all black. Trump wore a blue suit. And this is the image they used with that story, a carefully cropped photo, deliberately hiding all the men in blue suits, including Prince William and all sorts of other dignitaries. And as you can see in the wider shots, these publications have gone out of their way to kind of mislead. And we've seen publications from the UK to the US, Josh, spreading this fake news about Trump's blue suit.
I mean, look, I mean, Rita, I watch a lot of Donald Trump coverage over the years. I've seen him give many speeches. I've seen him give many White House, Oval Office interviews. I genuinely, as someone who pays actually fairly close attention to men's sartorial choices when they are in high positions, I actually genuinely struggle to think of a single instance when Donald Trump is actually wearing a black suit. I'm genuinely just like thinking out loud here with you in real time here. I feel like the guy's always wearing a blue suit. I mean, Trump's go-to look. Anyone who knows anything about Donald Trump's wardrobe, you know that he is known for wearing various shades of blue suits, and typically his go-to choice is the thick, bold, long red tie. That is Donald Trump 101. You want to go get a bobblehead doll in the toy store of Donald Trump, you're going to get a blue suit, red tie. That is the image. That's the magazine cover. That's who he is there. Now, he has a lot of blue suits. Now, he has various shades of blue suits there. There's lighter blue, there's darker blue, there's royal blue, navy blue. But I'm genuinely now thinking here, like my mind is racing. I can't think of a single time where he wears like a jet black suit there. That's just not who he is. That's not his style there. And yes, I mean, to your broader point here, this obviously it's beyond silly. It's so trite. It's so done. No one cares for this. Literally no one cares for this. I mean, Fortune magazine there. I mean, how desperate can you get there? I mean, when you're forced to run articles like this, really, when you're actually forced to run ridiculous headlines like this, the only logical conclusion that any consumer of the media can possibly reach is that you are out of luck because you are out of content, because you have nothing better to point to there. So you're forced to cavil about his choice of suit there. It's just so utterly absurd, Rita, but frankly, no one cares about this anymore.
It is absurd, but I tell you, yeah, it has an impact, particularly outside of the US, because the US, you do have a bit more diversity in the media, not as much as you would like to see, but there is counter narratives that are actually correcting some of this fake news. But in Australia and elsewhere in the world, it's almost all we get is just this relentless negative stuff, whether it's serious issues or trivial, like the colour of his suit at a funeral. Before you go, I want to get your opinion on this remarkable New York Times fluff piece that they've done on a character called Hassan Piker, a character they describe as a progressive mind in a MAGA body, because he works out. Apparently that makes him a MAGA body, but he's as bad as MAGA as I'm blonde. What he is, Josh, is virulently anti-Israel.
Any kind of Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the local dog catcher, as Felix was posting, if they've ever exhibited any sort of like positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious about this.
Josh, he has a hugely popular show on Twitch where he unashamedly praises Houthi terrorists, spreads all sorts of Hamas propaganda, and now he's getting fluff pieces in the New York Times. What is going on?
Well, I think what's going on is exactly what it looks like, which is that someone who has literally made a name for himself as an apologist for Hamas, Houthis, Hezbollah, various other U.S. recognized foreign terrorist organizations. I mean, this is the guy who is now getting you know the page A1 full spread treatment from the New York Times, an organization that was probably best known for burying coverage of the Holocaust back towards the back of the paper for 3, 4, 5 years during World War II. The New York Times has a long and deeply inglorious track record when it comes to these particular issues. This particular individual, Hassan Piker, is so toxic that after AOC of all people went on his show one point last year, she kind of did a quasi mea culpa when she was asked about it. She was like, "Oh, I didn't know his views were actually that radical." So I mean, this guy has really made a name for himself there. So for him to get the full New York Times treatment there, that says a lot, frankly, about the New York Times. But for those of us who pay close attention there, this tragically is what the New York Times has been for a very long time.
It is incredible. You cannot imagine something happening with someone like that from the right side of politics. Can you imagine one spreading the sort of stuff he spreads, getting a cover like that? Incredible. Josh Hammer, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Rita.